Hi guys, as requested, here is a quick and hopefully useful overview of the introduction to marketing and the branding slide, the branding presentation, sorry. With this one, we're looking to define the essence of branding, describe the autonomy of a brand, what the brand is about, and explain the usefulness of a brand in relationship to your marketing promotions and advertising. Explain how we use brands within certain groups, within certain societies, or how organisations use the power of the brand to support their launching of new products in maybe different segments of markets, or like Apple have done, use the Apple brand to jump from an iPod to an iPhone and then to an iPad. So there's sort of, where the brand sits and the value of that brand within the mind of the customer. And is to be able to evaluate the theoretical effectiveness of the brand. So the first task for you to do to sort of help grasp with this, and I've already added a useful PDF for you, is take two brands of your choice with similar sort of features, product properties as they're called. Clothing brands, Superdry, Topshop, Next, all these sort of things available on the high street. Read the journal, Strong Brands and Corporate Brands. In particular, you will see the pages run from 738, I think it is, and there's about 30 pages, I think, altogether, 20 pages on the PDF. In particular, sort of pages 744 to around about 749 to 750 are quite useful in sort of their, in the way this author, Mark J.K., explains and describes brands and various examples which you probably would have heard of in quite a good context. And then once you've decided on these sort of two brands, I've mentioned Superdry and Topshop here, sort of analyse how the consumer uses these brands in a social context. And first of all, is what you should do is by doing a bit of research yourself and common sense and the gleaming things that we have covered during the class. Think about what it means by a social context. Okay, so here we have a bit of a talking point here. So there are two images of flowers. Now, this is about brand perception and sort of the understanding of words and images. So when we say a rose, we see an image of a rose there. And then we have an image of dogwood. Just have a think about sort of, when you think about a rose, you think certain things. You will think a rose is associated with certain times of the year, and there may be the look of the rose and the smell of the rose. As it says that, would a rose by the name smell as sweet? And would your perception of that rose be as good if it was called dogwood? Might smell the same, but maybe not have the same appeal. So, or attractiveness that branding should really incite in customers. So the value of a brand, do not confuse this with brand values, two different things. The value, financially, we are talking here. Pepsi versus Cola, that brand is valued, this is 2010 or 2011, I believe these stats were from. Coca-Cola, $68 million, Pepsi, $13 million. Since Pepsi has caught up with Coca-Cola, since acquiring Walker's Crisps and the media group and this sort of things, and they are now much, much more valuable. They've narrowed the gap, as you say. But that is a all this marketing that Pepsi and Coca-Cola have done has definitely added sort of financial value to the brand because it's such a well-known product. That image, that Coca-Cola image and the Pepsi colours are pretty much ingrained to the minds of absolutely hundreds of millions of consumers. Here is a couple of definitions of branding. You can read those. And then we have something on personal branding. Lets you control how others perceive you and how this sort of, how this brand, like an ambassador, maybe someone is in the media, maybe when you want to have a car, which is they want people to call their cars names and they want people to sort of associate the car with like personal type characteristics. This can also create this sort of value in the perception of the customer. Very, very useful. So different types of groups, when you brand within groups, segments of the market can be a group. You could have empty nesters, people whose children have left home could be a group. People that live in a certain postcode in London could be a group. Single young males are a group, single young females are a group. We all belong to different types of groups, and more than likely these groups of people will have what's called habitual shopping habits, where you will buy certain things quite frequently and you like the brands that you buy. Toothpaste, wash powder, clothing, drinks, food, confectionery. And is what branding allows us to do is set our company or our product apart from somebody else's by being synonymous with certain features. Same as Cadbury's chocolate for certain groups of young teenagers who absolutely love chocolate. If you said a glass and a half, a glass of milk and another half of milk on a colour background, without even mentioning Cadbury's name, you would associate that image, that semiotic icon, the glass and a half of milk, with Cadbury's. A Nike tick is the same thing. It really helps you associate the value of the brand and sort of keeps it firmly in your mind, so you're more likely to choose that product than your competitors. Branding for the companies is their ownership, they own it. Symbolic devices, brands are like buttons, as in the fact that they are very much needed, and they have many uses, and a brand icon as a symbolic device can be seen in many, many places and many types of advertising. In the picture here, about quality, I've put 2 bottles of water. One is a Tesco's own still brand water and one is an Evian water. Because you're paying more for the Evian water, you will pay extra for that Evian water. But fundamentally at the bottom level, the Evian mineral water and the Tesco's own still mineral water are there's a big difference in the price, but the quality of the water, I would say, is very debatable and maybe negligible about the difference of mineral content. There may well slightly be, but not enough to affect health or the great price difference. So one of the brand autonomy models here looks at functional capability, service, a symbolic feature, and a distinctive name. So these 4 areas here are quite important to the power of the brand, the successfulness of the brand and then the company, and how well you can place this brand within the marketplace. So if you read those, you will see some examples there. Here we have a few more about the shorthand notation, legal protection, risk reducer, and the strategic direction. That sort of brands can help with when a company wants to move into new markets or to appeal to existing customers with another product or another service, and how they can help the organisation maybe change its strategic direction, as Apple have gone, for example, from maybe just soft media-based software to the mass domestic media market, going from like high-end software products to phone users and phone owners and app players. They've really moved markets and increased their market share drastically. This slide is a very interesting slide here. Brands and semiotics. This is the information. So where it says semiotic, look at the M of the McDonald's M, the logo, the famous golden arches. A Nike tick, a VW for Volkswagen. You know, various companies have got very famous semiotic brand icons and logos. And this semiotic information, as a diagram is trying to suggest here, is like fun. There's a clown. It's seen as the McDonald's sort of part of their marketing. I don't think they use it as much these days, maybe more in America than in Europe. But it's like happy times, laughing, fun. And the latest strapline to link into this semiotic brand logo that McDonald's use is the I'm loving it, which is all over the place and even has like a little jingle type thing to it. But people recognise it, and it keeps the brand, it keeps the organisation up there in the minds of consumers. 3 areas here: a utilitarian sign, a social sign, and a mythical sign. Three areas here which need to be in place to make the brand semiotic powerful and of value to the organisation and valued by the customers. The interesting one at the bottom, the mythical sign, you've just got to think about the Welsh dragon on the flag. When you say the Welsh dragon, it comes up, and even if you showed that Welsh dragon or that dragon image to somebody, they would say, oh, that's the logo of Wales, or that's the flag of Wales. It's the same sort of psychology behind it. So, brands should catch the attention. Example I've put there is FC UK, French Connection UK, used their funky acronym to get people's attention and to help remain in the memory. Connect product positions to the consumers. Talking about Skoda, I think we mentioned Skoda briefly in the sessions, and VW, how Skoda were bought by VW, and then VW let it be known that they own Skoda, and they're trying to raise a profile of that brand. You want to communicate something about what the product is capable of doing, encourage a nickname or short name something, or the underlying values of the organisation, like the AA being there to help you when you're stuck, the Automobile Association, help you when you're broke down on the motorway, and you are a friendly, sort of like, socially responsible organisation. Of course, you're helping people when they're in distress or need. Okay, that should wrap up our overview of the Introduction to Marketing Brands slide. Thank you.